Hello there, you amazing viewers and subscribers. Welcome to a new Doctor Who review for today. So in this review, I'm going to be talking about Doctor Who Season 1, starring William Hartnell as the first Doctor. Now, Season 1 was broadcast from the 23rd of November 1963 to the 12th of September 1964, containing over 8 incredible stories. Yes, one of the stories is missing, but I do have it in my collection, which I will show you a bit later on when I get to it. So, before getting to the main proper review, I'm going to show you what stories I've got, what do I own of these stories, and what do I think about the whole season as a whole. So, talking about Doctor Who Season 1, which was, as I said, was broadcast in 1963 to 1964, we have 8 incredible stories. William Hartnell's Doctor is the grumpiest Doctor of the lot. He's grumpy. You do see some dark moments in his Doctor during his first couple of episodes where he's about to bash somebody's head in with a skull. You do see more dark moments, but you do see him mellow over the time of Season 1, because you do see him mellow from the Keys of Manus all the way down to the Sensorites and even the Reina Terra. He does start to mellow. So talking about these stories and what do I own of them, so I'm going to show you what I own of him so far. So before getting to as I show I own them about it, I'm going to tell you a little bit of the stories as well and when they were broadcast and stuff. So jumping into the very first story, which was The Unearthly Child, which was broadcast from the 23rd of November to the 14th of December 1963. Now, The Unearthly Child is the very first story of Doctor Who, which you can actually get this in Doctor Who The Beginning box set, which I've got at the top, right at the top of my collection, because I've stuck all my DVDs at the box set, so I can actually put them into the main story order. Now, The Unearthly Child, I own this on VHS here from 1990. 1990 this came out, so I own the VHS. This was the very first ever Doctor Who adventure, as it does say on the VHS cover. So I put the VHS up there so I can make a nice line of them. So then, of course, I own it here on DVD. Now, The Unearthly Child is just a great story when you see the Doctor basically, not really straight away, because you're introduced to his granddaughter Susan, and you have her 2 school teachers trying to investigate her, and then they're going to a junkyard where they think she is. And they don't realise they stumble across a time machine, because when they literally walk across the police box, he goes, "What's the police box doing? You're in a junkyard. Wait, feel that? Don't you feel that?" And they're like, "It's alive." Because the TARDIS has like this great vibration. And then, of course, when the first Doctor comes and him and Ian have a fight, and Barbara rushes into the TARDIS and he goes to Susan, "I believe these humans are known to you." I love the way the first Doctor goes, "We're not from this race. We're not from this Earth. We're from the 4th dimensions of space and time." I like the way the first Doctor just does that. William Hartnell does that great, massive speech. And then, of course, as I say, he does go to bash somebody's head in with a skull later on when he's trying to escape from the cavemen. The Unearthly Child, it's an enjoyable story. It's not really a great story. I mean, episode 1's great, but 2, 3 and 4 do go a little bit boring. But they're still pretty much enjoyable. But a good boring. Then, of course, we are jumping into the next story of Season 1, which is known as The Daleks. Yes, Doctor Who, The Daleks is the next serial. And this is the very first story to feature the Daleks. And this was broadcast from the 21st of December 1963 to the 1st of February 1964, containing over 7 episodes. What do I think about it? If you were going to watch this in a massive go, you're going to need a lot of hours, to be honest with you, because I do find it a bit too long, and I do think it drags out quite a lot. But if you watch this in parts, because I watched episodes 1 and 2 in parts, took a break, then I watched 3 and 4, took a break, then 5 and 6, and then took another break, and then watched the final episode. I love the Fowls. I really prefer them in the Peter Cushing movies, because I really think they've got more design to them. But comparing this story to the one with Peter Cushing, yeah, the Peter Cushing one, I do have some faults with the Fowls, but in this one, I can actually understand them more, because I think with the movie version, I think some of it's like been rewritten, some of it's been like scrapped and half of it from the main story. But Doctor Who the Daleks is a good Dalek story, and it's the very first story. And when you see the Doctor like being infected, the one thing about William Hartnell, I can actually say that does a lot better than Peter Cushing's Doctor, when he literally makes the TARDIS team think they haven't got no mercury left in the TARDIS, and he's like trying to get his way to go and explore the city. I really think William Hartnell does it with a lot more cunningness than Peter Cushing does in the movie, in the spin-offs. So that's Doctor Who and the Daleks. So the next story is known as The Edge of Destruction, which was broadcast from the 8th to the 15th of February 1964. Again, I got it on DVD. Now, this is a two-part story. Is it a good two-part story? Not really, but we do see more of the TARDIS for the very first time. This is the very first time we actually see a lot more in the TARDIS, like the food dispenser, where you get water, you have a wardrobe, you got like beds, everything. And the Doctor is quite nasty to Ian and Barbara in this, but he does apologise, and they do sort the ways out. So that's Edge of Destruction. So the next story, I haven't got this on CD, I'm afraid, because it is a missing story. It's not even out on DVD yet. But I hope it gets animated soon, which is Marco Polo. So here is the target novel book. And what can I tell you about Marco Polo? Is it a good story? From what I've read, yes, it is a good story. When you see the Doctor literally ends up losing his time machine when he gambles to Karbu Khan, he has to try and get his time machine back. It's a great adventure, and they do get it back, unfortunately. They do go into having more travels through time and space, but Marco Polo is an enjoyable story, I have to say. So the next story is known as a great story. I really enjoyed this one. It's not my favourite for season 1, but it's definitely up there. And it is known as the Keys of Manus. So what do I own of Doctor Who, the Keys of Manus? The Keys of Manus is here on VHS as well on the DVD. So, and this story was broadcast from the 11th of April to the 16th of May, 1964. And of course, when the TARDIS team land on a beach where you got sand, broken glass everywhere, and of course like a beach pool, but filled with acid, because the whole the sea and that lot is actually covered in acid, and it doesn't actually melt people. So when you see the TARDIS team like going to investigate this kind of like pyramid sort of thing, and then they have to go through time and space searching through the keys for the keys, is it an enjoyable story? I actually kind of like it. It's not a great one. It is a good Hartnell story, but not one that does spring into my mind straight away. If I want to sit down and watch a Hartnell story from season 1, it's probably the Daleks or the Aztecs. But the Keys of Manus is one that doesn't really pop into my head as much, but should it really? Yeah, I think it should actually pop into my head at some point for Hartnell, if I was going to watch a Hartnell story. So that's the Keys of Manus. So coming into the next story now, which again, as I said, is the Keys of Manus. Now, probably know this, but this is my favourite William Hartnell story completely, and I just absolutely enjoy it. So this story was actually broadcast from the 23rd of May to the 13th of June, 1964. And what do I own of this story? Well, I own the target novel book here. I own the original DVD version. And then, of course, the DVD. That one does not want to stay up there. Sorry. Just bear with me. So anyway, and of course, the Aztec Special Edition. Now, what can I tell you about this story I really enjoyed? It's a good historian episode when it's set in the 15th century. Barbara is mistaken to be an ancient god. So that does really set up the tone for the episode. And I absolutely love where she's like there trying to say, I'm going to stop the Aztecs from having sacrifices for rain. And I love the way the Doctor goes, you cannot rewrite history, not one line. I believe you, my dear. I know. Yes, you cannot change history. You cannot interfere. We must not interfere. We need to let these people get on with it, get back to the TARDIS and leave. That's all the Doctor wants to do. And he ends up getting engaged accidentally. The Aztecs is one of my favourite stories, because then when they think Ian's dead and Ian's not, and they've got to try and rescue Susan from the Aztecs, which they do, and then they get back into the TARDIS and leave, go into the next story. Again, the Aztecs is just a really enjoyable story. I cannot say nothing wrong with the Aztecs. It's just one of those Doctor Who stories of William Hartnell's era I just really enjoy. So the next story, of course, is another one of my favourites from season 1, and it is The Censorites, which was broadcast from the 21st of June to the 1st of August 1964. Now, of course, I own this story on VHS, thanks to somebody on Facebook named Paul who was selling this, and I know he's a subscriber, and I've added him, and we do have some Doctor Who talks. If it wasn't down for him, I wouldn't even have this story on VHS. And I just want to say thank you to him for selling me this VHS, because I actually brought this with the 2 tins, like the Master tin and the Cybermen tin. And this Aztecs, the Sensorites, is a great story. And then, of course, I own the DVD version as well. Again, I like the Aztecs. I like the fact this story leads on from the Aztecs. I really do enjoy the Aztecs, sorry. But the Sensorites, I do enjoy that one as well. Like, when the Sensorites steal, like, the TARDIS lock to try and stop them from getting into the TARDIS because they think humans are going to go around and killing them and everything else. And the Doctor goes, "If you do not return my property, I will make things extremely difficult for you." I like the way Hartnell just does that with the angriness and the stubbornness. And then when they like to try and get Susan to go with them, and the Doctor's there arguing with them, going, "In all my travels with my granddaughter, we have never argued, not once. And then all of a sudden, you start interfering." Yeah, I really do like Hartnell's Doctor. He's very, very stubborn and everything. But my favourite line is when he's telling the Sensorites off, where he goes, "If you do not give me back my property, I'm going to make things very difficult for you." Because he literally just have a go at them to get the lock to his tires. They do put the lock back. And he ends up going off to the next adventure, which Ian and Barbara do accidentally insult him. And he does lose his temper by trying to get him back to 1963 London. So, yeah, that's the Sensorites. But the next story, I have to say, it is the Reina Terra. Now, this is a good historian story as well. I mean, historian stories, we have On Earthly Child, we literally do have, as I say, the Aztecs. And then this is the 3rd historian story, where it was broadcast from the 8th of August to the 12th of September 1964. With episodes 4 and 5 missing, and they have been animated for this story. Do I enjoy the Reina Terra? Yes, I do. I think it's a great story. If you're going to do an episode in the French Revolution with any Doctor, I'm glad they actually did it with William Hartnell's Doctor, because it is just a magnificent story. It's just absolutely great. So when the Doctor's like there and trying to talk to Ian and Barbara to get the TARDIS and stuff, and he's there, and Ian goes very cleverly trying to sneak so, "Wow, Doctor, are you going to come with us for a few points in the beer? For a few points, you know?" So they literally talk the Doctor into going to a poison to find out they're in France and nowhere. But when they find out they're in the middle of the French Revolution, Susan goes, "Her grandfather doesn't know. Why is that?" "Do you not know?" "What?" "The French Revolution is his favourite period on Earth." And I like the way she just says that, and Ian just goes like that. I really enjoy the TARDIS team's reactions. But then when you see Ian get like arrested with Ian and with Susan and Barbara, and the Doctor's got to go to France trying to get them out, and he literally does become like one of the people there, and he literally blends in, and then he does get his TARDIS team back, and I do leave to go on to the next story. So that's a bit of information about the stories and when they were broadcast. So my whole review of season 1, it's a great season. We do see a lot of character development in between the TARDIS team. The Doctor, when he starts off, he's very grumpy and grudgety. He's very snappy with them and everything else, but he does mellow over the stories. When you have that great moment where he's like there in the Sensorites talking to Susan, she puts his head on it, like her head on his shoulder, he literally just like that. It's such a like family moment you do have in that. And then Ian and Barbara, yes, they do make the Doctor very angry and everything, and he did literally throw himself on him. But it is a great season, to be honest with you. It's really enjoyable. The stories I really enjoy. I'm really looking forward to have Marco Polo animate so I can sit down and watch it for the very first time instead of reading the Target novel book, which is great, really. It's one of the best Target novel books. I really enjoy Doctor Who Season 1. I really do. I think it's a great season and stuff. So, the one thing about it I have to say is some episodes and some stories I find, like, sometimes I find them a bit boring. I don't know how the people coped back in 1963 watching these after the week. I mean, when you get the Unearthly Child and you get out of episode 1 and you go into episodes 2, 3 and 4 and you're stuck in the caveman stuff and you're there like going, "Fire, I will become Fire King." Yeah, mate, I just don't care. I really don't care. I will come to fire. And then you have the Doctor literally picking up a skull and Ian goes, "What do you think you're doing? Get off me, boy. I'm going to push his head in." No, you're not. I do enjoy that. Then when you get to the Daleks and you do see the TARDIS can get like put into proper danger with the Daleks, and they're still there with the Doctor, and the Doctor like takes them with them. So yeah, that is basically season 1. Let me know in the comments what you think of Doctor Who season 1. Is it one of your favourite William Hartnell seasons? It's not my favourite Hartnell season, but it's still enjoyable. My favourite Hartnell season is definitely season 2. So let me know in the comments what you think of Doctor Who season 1, sorry. And join me for the next Doctor Who review after I finish watching it. And that will be on Doctor Who Season 2 from 1964 to 1965. And in Season 2, we have the departure of the original TARDIS team. We also get Vicky and Stephen, who travel with the first Doctor as well. And they do leave in Season 3 as well, them too. So, let me know in the comments what you think of Season 1. And what do you think of these stories? Do you agree with me that the Aztecs is a brilliant Hartnell story? And does it deserve to be one of my favourites? Let me know. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. And join me for more Doctor Who content videos on this channel.